It's another edition of Bold Prediction Tuesday here on Locked On Bearcats, and today we're talking quarterbacks. A major change is on the way, but who leads it? And whoever does, what kind of season will they have? 5 bold quarterback predictions on today's episode of Locked On Bearcats.
Our Locked On Bearcats, your daily podcast on the Cincinnati Bearcats, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you so much for making Locked On Bearcats your first listen every day, free and available everywhere you get your podcast. Don't forget, if you're watching on our Locked On Bearcats YouTube channel, which just hit 100 subscribers, that is great, but we are not done yet. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. You can also like and share a comment on today's video. And if you're downloading from an audio platform, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast, don't forget to subscribe there too. You can also share a comment and or give it a rating. All of that on audio and YouTube helps more Bearcats fans like you find this podcast. Alex Frank here with you, your host each and every day here on Locked On Bearcats, former sports director of Bearcast Media, UC's student-run media organization, was a play-by-play announcer and color analyst for Bearcats football and men's basketball games home and away, and hosted a weekly radio show in the Jack and Jones Strader radio studio, sports any way you want it, bringing all of those experiences here to the Locked On Bearcats podcast. So today it's another episode of Bold Prediction Tuesday. 5 bold predictions for a particular position group on the Bearcats roster. Thank you. Today it's the quarterbacks. Another position. Last week we did cornerbacks. That's a position undergoing a major overhaul on the roster. Quarterbacks is a position that is too going through an overhaul. Also going through an overhaul on the roster. So we're going to hit that position today. You've got 4 quarterbacks on the roster. Ben Bryant, Evan Prater, Brady Lichtenberg, Luther Richardson. All those quarterbacks on the roster. Now, we think, or we know, we're about 99% sure, maybe 95% to be generous. But we know for sure that there are 2 quarterbacks who are likely going to be starters. By the way, you also have Jacob Hoying in there. Luther Richardson is not, listed on the roster. So maybe he transferred and I missed that news? I didn't see that news. Evan Prater, Ben Bryant, Jacob Hoying, and Brady Lichtenberg. So those are your 4 quarterbacks. But we know 2 are the front runners for the starting position, starting job. Ben Bryant and Evan Prater. So today, it's 5 bold predictions. And I'm going to get into bold prediction number 1 right off the bat. Evan Prater will be the starting quarterback week 1. Now, this may not necessarily be a bold prediction, but I think he will be. I think it is bold in the regard that Ben Bryant has more experience because he has a full season of starting experience under his belt, and that is valuable. But you know what's also valuable? Is playing behind Desmond Ridder, is backing up Desmond Ridder during a run to the college football playoff. Remember that piece that Pete Thamel, from formerly of Yahoo Sports, now with ESPN, wrote leading up to during the season last year? It was a week spent with the Bearcats leading up to their game at Indiana. Remember that piece when he went into a week in Bearcats football? Desmond Ridder, game planning with the coaching staff on Sundays. He interned with the coaching staff during his time with Cincinnati. Desmond Ridder did that. Evan Prater learned from him. I'll take that over a season's worth of starting in the Mid-American Conference. There is way more upset to starting Evan Prater. Throwing him to the Wolves right off the bat at Arkansas, week 1, hostile environment, big environment, SEC country. This offense will be really good if Evan Prater starts. There is more upside and more ability and more flexibility within this offense if Evan Prater is the starter. It will feel like a carryover from last year. I'm not saying Evan Prater is going to be Desmond Ridder. Desmond Ridder is one of one. But that doesn't mean Evan Prater is not going to be very good. I think he will be very good. And if you throw him out there week 1 to start right away, I can see him being, he might take his lumps against Arkansas. But if you put him out there in a big game early, when the Bearcats move to the Big 12 in 2023, I think this season is about keeping one eye on the present and one eye on the future. One eye on the present is, hey, we're trying to win every game this season. But the other eye, hey, we're trying, when we get to the Big 12, we need to be, as John Cunningham says, athletic director John Cunningham, or is it director of athletics? You get the point. Ready from day one. Day one ready. That, I think, constitutes Evan Prater being a starting quarterback. And if he is a starting quarterback, bold prediction number 2, Evan Prater will lead the Bearcats, the conference in passing yards. What? Yes. There's only one quarterback in this conference that I can see challenging Evan Prater for the lead in passing yards. Tanner Mordecai, quarterback of SMU. And by the way, if you saw the Bearcats defense against him last year, yeah, Evan Prater should be able to win the passing yards title in the conference. I believe Evan Prater is going to catch this conference by surprise. Teams don't know him. They don't know who he is. But that can mean that he has wild success in a conference that doesn't have great defenses, unless you're Cincinnati. Look at the receiving core Evan Prater has. I mean, you have the best tight end tandem in the conference, maybe the country. You've got speedsters at wide receiver and Trey Tucker and Tyler Scott. You've got Nick Martiner coming in from Hawaii. How that receiving core right there can allow Evan Prater to lead this conference in passing yards. That is not a far-fetched expectation. I've seen what Evan Prater can do. When you look at where he comes from and you look at the arm talent that he has and you look at the receivers who are waiting to bust out this year because they've been playing behind some really good receivers over the years, Alec Pierce, Rashad Medeiros, Tyler Scott had an incredible season last year. Jaden Thompson is in there too. Trey Tucker is in there. There is a lot of talent on this year's team. Wyatt Fisher, Drew Donnelly, Norman Love, Ashton Kohler, Chris Scott, Blue Smith, Jair Thomas. This receiving room is deep. And I believe that's going to help Evan Prater put up some big numbers this season. And remember, teams don't know him. Defenses don't know him. They don't have any film on him. I think that's what's going to help him lead the conference in passing yards. Up next, bold prediction number 3. So Evan Prater is going to be the starting quarterback. At least that's what I think. So what happens with Ben Bryant? Will he even be on the roster come the start of the season if Evan Prater is the starting quarterback come week 1? I'll touch on that next after a word from Built Bar. So imagine this for a minute. Make sure I got our time stamp there. Yep, I do. So imagine this for a minute. You're dipping your finger into that plastic tub of birthday cake frosting, and then opening your eyes and realizing that was only 150 calories and 16 grams of protein. Well, that is what it's like to eat a birthday cake puff from Built Bar. If you haven't tried the puffs, I'm going to tell you a little secret because, you all are my friends. I tell friends secrets. A chocolate-covered marshmallow protein bar. Yeah, you heard me. It's delicious flavored marshmallow covered in 100% real chocolate. But here's the catch. It's only 150 calories and 16 grams of protein, and there's only 9 grams of sugar. So this limited time flavor is an amazing option if you are looking for a healthy way to get flavor and variety in your day. All Built Puffs are covered in 100% real chocolate, so that means with Built, you can eat healthy and you can actually enjoy it. What a combo. You thought that combo couldn't exist? Built Bars proved that wrong. They're made with collagen protein, which your body absorbs more efficiently and provides tons of health benefits. So go to Built.com and order your birthday cake puffs now. Use promo code LOCKED15 and get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. Make sure to go check out Locked On NBA Big Board host Rafael Barlow from NBA Draft Junkies and author of the NBA Big Board newsletter is joined by Richard Stayman, Sam Ferris, and Leif Thulin, giving fans an in-depth look into the NBA draft, mock draft, player rankings, and of course, Big Boards. It's free and available everywhere you get your podcasts. Alex Frank here with you, Locked On Bearcats. I mean to tell you what an ass-whooping Dallas put on Phoenix Sunday night. Whew! 33-point margin of victory. The Mavericks winning the series 4-3. They will take on Golden State in the conference finals, Western Conference Finals, Wednesday night, 9 o'clock on TNT. You got that series. You got the Celtics and the Heat in the Eastern Conference. I think Dallas can give Golden State a series. I don't think they will. I'll take Golden State in 5. And then the Celtics and the Heat, I think it's going to be a 7-game series. I'll take the Celtics in that series. So it'll be a Boston Golden State NBA Finals. How about that? That's going to be a truly great finals if that happens. Should have had that finals 4 years ago, rather. Anyway, back to 5 bold predictions. Bold prediction Tuesday. So if Evan Prater is going to be the starting quarterback, what happens to Ben Bryant? Because Ben Bryant transferred back here to start. He didn't transfer here to be a backup. And that's why this starting quarterback battle is going to be a heated battle. It's going to be competitive. Because yes, Evan Prater is, I think, ready to be the starting quarterback. I think he should be the starting quarterback. But Ben Bryant has more experience. And he's going to give everything he has. You know, it was an emotional departure the first time around for him when he left because he wanted it to work out here. But ultimately, it didn't. He went to Eastern Michigan, got a full season's worth of starting under his belt. That's great. But it's got to translate here to Cincinnati. You know, where does Ben Bryant go from here if Evan Prater is named the starter? Does he want to stay here and be a backup to a quarterback that, you know, let's be honest, he's not familiar with? Is he going to be willing to back up the whole season? I think once Evan Prater becomes the starting quarterback, I don't think he's going to give the job up because I think he's going to be really good. So therefore, bold prediction number 3, Ben Bryant will transfer before the season starts. Evan Prater is going to be named the starting quarterback in fall camp. I don't anticipate this being a situation where you don't know who's going to take the field week 1. I don't believe that. Ben Bryant's looking to start. He's not going to be a backup. Once Prater wins the starting job, Ben Bryant is going to be, SOL. So where does he go? Does he stay in Cincinnati? Because you can hope that you get a chance to play. You can hope that you get a chance to start. You can hope in the back of your mind secretly that Evan Prater struggles, but I don't see that happening. So where does he go to? Where is he going to go? To quote Phil Castellini, where else are you going to go? Does he go back to a Mid-American Conference? Does he transfer to, a team that needs a starter? I don't think the country really knows what Ben Bryant can do. They don't really know a lot about him. So he can't really go to a Power 5 team. So it will be interesting to see where he transfers to if he ends up losing the starting job to Evan Prater. I think this is going to be one of the situations where the quarterback, you're going to know it by Luke Fickell's week 1 press conference the Tuesday before the Arkansas game. It's not going to be one of those where you don't know who's going to take the field for the first possession. It's not going to be one of those where it's going to say one quarterback or another quarterback on the depth chart. It's not going to be like that, I don't think. I think you're going to know who the starting quarterback is going to be before the Arkansas game. It's that big of a game. You can't go into Fayetteville against a top 15 opponent, potentially, for sure top 25, and not know who your starter is going to be. I think it's going to be really interesting to see if that actually happens, which I think it will. But if it doesn't, does Ben Bryant trot out onto the field? Is it going to be a Hayden Moore, Desmond Ridder 2.0 from what we saw 4 years ago? If Ben Bryant runs out onto the field, who in this battle I think is Hayden Moore, Evan Prater's like Desmond Ridder. You know that he, can help you win games. You know he's the better option. But you don't really know yet until you actually see it. And maybe it's going to be 2 possessions in, and it's like, yep, Ben Bryant's not it. And I'm not trying to diss on Ben Bryant or anything. I'm just saying from what I see Evan Prater is the better option at quarterback. He has more upside. He's going to allow your offense to do more. Gino Guidugli taking over as offensive coordinator. He's going to also remain the quarterback's coach. I think he is going to have more options at his disposal if he has Evan Prater at quarterback. We know Ben Bryant can do things better than Prater, and we also know Prater can do things better than Ben Bryant. But at the same time, you saw how good the Bearcats offense was last year. You saw how good it was in 2020. What made it good? Because you had a dual threat quarterback leading your offense. And Desmond Ridder. That stretch of 5 games late in the 2020 season when he had 10 passing touchdowns and 11 rushing touchdowns, Evan Prater can do that. And speaking of which, I'll give you some bold predictions on the stats that Evan Prater will put up this season after a word from BetOnline, which remains the number one source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all of the latest odds, news, and sports developments, including this year's basketball playoffs, Major League Baseball scores, fights, and even next season's NFL futures. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, from live betting to the playoffs, esports, and more. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. BetOnline, where the game starts. Thanks for making Locked On Bearcats your first listen every day. It's free and available everywhere you get your podcasts. Alex Frank here with you on this Tuesday, May 17th, 2022. NBA Draft Lottery is tonight. Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals between the Celtics and the Heat. That is tonight down in Miami. So much going on. NHL games, second round starting this week, conference semifinals. How about the weekend of sports? 7 total game 7s. You had 5 game 7s in hockey. The 2 on Sunday both ended in overtime. Home team winning on a game-winning overtime goal. You had one score games, 2 of them on Saturday, and a really good game between Los Angeles and Edmonton Saturday night. It was an unbelievable weekend if you are a hockey fan, if you're a fan of the Stanley Cup playoffs. But back to what today's show is all about. 5 bold predictions on the quarterbacks. How good do I think Evan Prater is going to be? Well, bold prediction number 4. Evan Prater will be first team all-conference. Yep, you heard me. Evan Prater will be first team all-conference quarterback. Again, he's got the receivers to do it. He's dual threat. There's only one other quarterback I can see in this conference legitimately challenging him to be the best quarterback in the conference, and that's Tanner Mordecai down in SMU. And when you think about Evan Prater, he's uniquely prepared for this position. Desmond Ridder was great and all, but let's not forget where he came from. He was a very low-star recruit. He only had 2 offers coming out of high school. He wasn't highly recruited. He, redshirted his first season in 2017. He takes over as the starting quarterback in 2018. No one really knew who he was. No one really knew who he was 2 seasons in, but it wasn't until that 5-game stretch in 2020 when people started to take notice. Evan Prater, on the other hand, was one of the most highly recruited quarterbacks out of high school in 2020. He was a prolific passer at Wyoming. He holds school records, state records. He's the highest recruit in program history and comes to Cincinnati from a school who threw the football constantly in Wyoming. That's who Evan Prater is. I believe he can be that for the Cincinnati Bearcats. That's how good I think he can be. He has a big arm. He has raw talent. He can run. He can extend plays. And it's just so unique to see this Cincinnati kid who was so prolific at Wyoming, who had numerous offers coming out of high school, and now he is here in Cincinnati. A member of the Bearcats, 4-star recruit, Mr. Football 2020, or 2019, excuse me. He's now here at the University of Cincinnati. This is what it's all about. Evan Prater is going to not only win the starting quarterback battle, but he's going to take the league by storm and have a fantastic season. So much so he's going to be first team all-conference. So what about his exact stats? I mean, we're going really bold here. We're going really ambitious. But bold prediction number 5, Evan Prater will have at least 3,000 passing yards and 750 rushing yards. Yup, you heard me. This is an offense that can run through Evan Prater. I've said on this show, and you've heard from Russ Heltman, Gino Guidugli has said this, not on this show, although we'll get him on eventually. But it's been said by multiple people, including me here on this podcast, that this is going to be a run-first offense. It's not going to be a spread offense, a pass-first offense, pass-centric like UCF, Memphis, or other teams in this conference. It's going to be a ground and pound, run the football, physical style. But having played behind Desmond Ridder, Evan Prater knows this offense. Evan Prater understands, dual threat quarterbacks are what win games in college football. I mean, you've seen dual threat quarterbacks win national championships. Trevor Lawrence, Sean Watson. You can go back to, mine's blanking on me a little bit. I know there's other dual threat quarterbacks who've won national championships. Cam Newton, that's who I'm thinking of. So I think his game, Evan Prater's, is going to be modeled after Desmond Ridder. It might be a run-first offense at the start, but come week 6, 7, when you go to SMU and UCF, let Prater cook. Air it out. Because I believe that offense will be tough to stop. Very tough to stop. If you have Evan Prater throwing the ball 30 times a game, and he's airing the ball out, and he's averaging 10 yards per completion or attempt, and he's throwing 300 yards 4 to 5 times a season, try stopping that offense, because I guarantee you won't. I think he's more ready coming into college than Desmond Ridder was. They might run the ball first to kind of get him acclimated, and I can see them doing that with the running back room that they have. But come the middle of the season, when you play your aerial opponents in SMU and UCF, and you're going to have to throw the ball and you're going to have to score some points, I think they're going to say to Evan Prater, Gino Guidugli and the coaching staff is going to say to Evan Prater, listen, we're turning you loose. We believe in you. So just send Tyler Scott streaking down the field. Just send Jaden Thompson, Trey Tucker, whomever, whatever it is. Put Leonard Taylor up the seam, Josh Wiley. That's how good this offense, I think, is going to be come the middle of the season once Evan Prater is the focal point of this offense. All right, that's going to do it here on Locked On Bearcats for a Tuesday, Bold Prediction Tuesday. Next week, Tuesday, we're going to hit the tight ends. This is a position that is returning two very, very good players, Leonard Taylor and Josh Wiley. Just how good can that position be? We'll get into some bold predictions for that position. Tight ends next Tuesday, Bold Prediction Tuesday. Don't forget you can subscribe, or actually you should subscribe. We're at 100 subscribers, but we're not done yet. We're still looking for subscribers, so you can be the next one. So hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Don't forget to like and share a comment on today's video. You can also download Locked On Bearcats from an audio podcast platform, Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget, when you do, to subscribe. You can also share a comment and give it a rating. All of that helps more Bearcats fans like you find this podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at Frankie_Natty with 2 N's and NATI. You can follow me on Instagram, AlexFrank9_, or email me at alex3frank@gmail.com. Thanks for making Locked On Bearcats your first listen every day. I am trying to come up with a what-if topic for tomorrow. So if you've got a topic that you want covered on this show, feel free to reach out. You can follow me on Twitter at Frankie_Natty. You can DM me a topic. You can tweet at me a topic. You can also message me on Instagram, AlexFrank9_. You can DM me on Instagram a topic, or email me a topic at alex3frank@gmail.com, all lowercase. You can email me a topic for a What If Wednesday tomorrow. Thanks for making Locked On Bearcats your first listen every day. Now get all of your daily Big 12 news in less than 30 minutes with Big 12 expert Josh Neighbors. It's free and available everywhere you get your podcasts. For Locked On Bearcats, I'm Alex Frank. Thank you for listening. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. Enjoy Game 1 tonight between Boston and Miami. The NBA Draft Lottery. There should be Stanley Cup, playoff action tonight on this Tuesday. So we've got, let's see, for use, we're all sports fans. But if you want to watch some hockey tonight, you've got 2 games tonight. Game 1 between Tampa Bay and Florida. That's at 7 on TNT. And then game 1 between St. Louis and Colorado. That's at 9:30 on TNT. 2 incredible game series getting underway tomorrow night in the Stanley Cup playoffs. That's going to do it for me here today on Locked On Bearcats. I'm Alex Frank. Thank you for listening. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, and I will talk to you tomorrow.